ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Vacations will never be the same. Welcome to the theme parks of Universal Orlando Resort. With spectacular hotels and more, Universal Orlando offers an entire week of vacation awesome. Visit universalorlando.com.
Hi, I'm Linda. And this is my daughter, Cathy.
Hello.
And this is the Cinema, the podcast where we walk home from the cinema.
Thank you, Mom. It's the movies that we walk home from the movies.
Oh, we walk home from the movies, and I'm not Dave.
No, Dave is not here today. We are recording without him. Thank you, Mom. Because we are going to see a movie called Four Mothers, an Irish comedy.
And I am a mother.
You are.
And as are you.
It feels like the perfect film to see together. We've heard great things about it. Apparently really funny. It's a big deal for an Irish film to make it into the cinema. It's a tough industry out there. We're going to support it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I know a couple of things about it, but I don't know much. Mm-hmm. So I know there are four mothers and four sons, and that's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I know about it. But look, I hope it's good. It's an Irish film, so I always love that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I hope we get a few laughs. Love that. So we shall be back after we've watched Four Mothers. Bye.
I can't take it anymore. All she wants to do is smoke fags and watch telly.
My one keeps turning up at wakes for people she doesn't even know. Look at there's Simon.
She looks wrecked.
Hi.
Good morning, Edward.
Oh my God, she speaks.
If you were going any slower, we would go back in time.
Why do you keep pointing at every turn?
Why are you in therapy?
I don't know, Mom. Okay, I'm a writer. I'm neurotic.
Repeat after me. I'm going to stop taking care of other people and start taking care of myself.
Well, I'm going to say it straight up. Janine gave us all an education this week.
Hello?
Hi, Edward. We've decided to run away to Maspaloma's Pride for 3 days and leave our mums with you. Sorry.
Who abandons their mothers to go to Maspaloma's Pride of all things?
And we're back. We have seen Four Mothers. Some time has passed. Usually on this podcast we record as soon as we leave the movies, but we had to go back, do other things, so we've reconvened a week later to discuss it because we liked it so much. We didn't want the moment to pass, we wanted to talk about it. So Mom, tell me, what did you think about Four Mothers?
Well, my initial impression, as I remember, leaving the cinema, and I know we're never allowed to talk about it until we get to the podcast, so this is actually our first time talking about it, except for the fact that I came out saying, whoa, that might be the best film I've ever seen. Now, obviously, that has faded, but my overall impression is wonderful movie, absolutely surprised. I laughed and I cried, but I laughed a lot. It was so entertaining. That was my initial impression. And you?
Yeah, I had the same kind of raft of emotions. It is very, very funny, and it's also really touching. And I think, it's actually a very unexplored idea on screen, and it's something people live with everywhere, all over the country, all over the world, looking after parents as they age. And in particular, there's a very common trope of single women who don't have kids, who look after their parents as they age. And this film explores gay men who don't have children looking after their mothers as they age. And I've never seen that represented before. These four gay men who look after their mums and their friendship and kind of the mothers' relationships to each other. And, particularly women who would have grown up in a very homophobic Ireland and they now have, these really out and out gay sons. So it was just really unique, wasn't it? And such an interesting story. And I did cry too. Found it really, really emotional.
It was very unique, but I have over the years known single men who have been at home looking after their mothers, but they would largely have been country. You will find a lot of farmers would have remained single, whether gay or not, I don't know, but a lot of farmers would have remained single and ended up at home minding the mothers. So
but you won't have seen it on screen though.
I won't. No, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Of course I've never seen it on screen.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it done with it was just wildly funny.
Yeah, it was so good. And I think as we speak already, it's probably not in most cinemas anymore because Irish films come and go very quickly. So I do recommend, if you haven't seen it, don't follow us onto Spoiler Street. Seek it out in a local cinema if you can find it. It's still in a few screens in Ireland and in the UK, I believe. And if not, wait till it's out on streaming and catch it then, because I actually think our listeners will love it. It's also really nice length. It's like an hour and a half. It's got great writing, great characters. Also, the central character is a writer, which I always love. So you've kind of got his writing process, but it's just quite the who's who of brilliant Irish mammies as well, isn't it?
Well, that's it, like fantastic performances from the four men and the four mothers, and another, not quite a cameo role, but there's a fourth woman of the age of the mothers who has a prominent role. But that's Spoiler Street stuff, is it?
I think we should go to Spoiler Street. What do you think?
I think so. Are we nearly there, Cathy?
We're nearly there. We're about to turn on to Spoiler
Are we there
Street
now?
So we're going to Spoiler Street, and you may hear a quick ad before we come back.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday! Halliday, bring it on!
Right, we're back. And I did forget to say, this is not a spoiler, James McArdle, the lead actor, who is Scottish, great Irish accent.
Do you know, I looked him up afterwards. I did not know he wasn't Dublin. It was a really good, I thought a solid Dublin accent.
I thought he might have been like someone from like north of Ireland, kind of bringing his accent down a bit, but no, I had not picked up that he was Scottish. He's so charming. I kind of fell in love with him in this film.
I did fall in love a bit with him, but I fell more in love with his French ex.
Oh God, yeah. He was divine.
He was divine.
And there was that story of like love and loss as well, and like letting relationships go because you're kind of getting in your own way, and to some extent he kind of used his mother as an excuse as well to not commit in a relationship. And I found all the interpersonal dynamics fascinating, because there's like, you've got your 8 characters, you've got the 4 mothers, the 4 sons, then you've got the main character and his boyfriend, who's also acts as kind of a nurse to his mother. There was a lot going on, like relationship wise, but I felt like they all made sense and they all connected, because they all kind of, the axis was the central son, I guess. So they all kind of related back to him. Yeah. And like, you know, for a large period of the movie, it is just him, like none of his mates are around him. And they're all brilliant, like they're just really charming performances. And Mom and I both know one of the actors actually, who's called Gordon, and he did really well in it. It was so fun to see someone you know in a film, and I was really impressed by him. And I just think the kind of like the film really came to life when the 4 mothers came together. You're kind of waiting for it to happen, weren't you?
Well, yes, but I didn't expect it just like that. I knew there was something in the plot about somebody being left with the 4 mothers, but yeah, he just comes home and they're all in his kitchen.
And I just love the device of his mom, played by Vanilla Flanagan, and her text to speak, and like that kept us laughing through to like the end credits, like just the way she did it, and she was so abrupt. And he's also trying to do like podcasts and media, like to promote this book he's written, which is really interesting. It like took off because of TikTok, and that happens a lot of actors, like or a lot of authors that have written books and they explode because they trend on TikTok. And it's interesting to see him having published this good book, but that kind of went nowhere, suddenly exploding, all these opportunities in front of him, and he's like at home with these, you know, 4 mothers. So I just think the idea, like the story, is very clever, isn't it?
I think it's very clever, but he was in the position of being, you know, a carer for not just one mum at this point, but 4 of them, and trying to find time to run his business and promote his book. And it did remind me, because whatever about 4 mothers, I had 4 daughters. It did remind me of trying to get anything done when you're caring for people, and literally being in closets trying to make phone calls. And yeah, that text to speech was hilarious. The mum had a stroke, which was why she wasn't speaking, but every now and then she'd type in something and the voice would say, stop talking.
And you found it like you really empathized with him as our main character, because he's just saying, Mom, just for 2 weeks you need to go and stay with my brother, and she doesn't want to. And this whole film is kind of focused around him trying to speak to her to say, Mom, I need to go to America for 2 weeks, but he just can't do it. And you're kind of rooting for him to have that conversation with her. And then there's this lovely idea that like these 4 women are all, I guess, lonely and not in friendship groups, so for them to all come together and kind of have this road trip that happens in the middle of the movie, like there's loads going on with the psychic.
There is loads going on, but I kind of probably had a different experience than you when he was not saying to her, this is what we're doing. I was so frustrated with him.
Oh, he's
he
so
was
annoying.
So weak, because we loved him, so weak sounds a bit harsh.
But he was
so weak. Like, he wouldn't just say, I need to go away for work. You can either go to your other son or you can go to a care home.
Yeah.
But you could decide where, but I'm going away. And that needed to happen.
And he had that inability because his boyfriend said it as well. Like, you can't commit to stuff. Like, he couldn't commit to the book tour. And also, like, I turned to Mom and said, like, you'd be gone out the door for 2 weeks if I was getting a book tour around America. Sorry, Mom. He seems to just... He can't really commit to anything. He's annoying his agent, he's annoying his friends, he's annoying his boyfriend. And then when he went to the boyfriend's going away party and he was
ex-boyfriend,
crying,
you keep calling him boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend, and he's crying in the car home, and it's just like, you know.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah.
He literally he couldn't assert himself. But and they made that real and true and funny, because there's one scene he's in therapy. He's with his therapist. And then the therapist is just talking about himself. So even he can't claim his space in therapy. Now the therapist, who actually is paid by Panty Bliss and is riotous. That's who that is.
I was like, he's so
familiar.
So
the drag queen. That's Panty Bliss.
Our non-Irish listeners, Panty Bliss is like the most famous Irish drag queen. So I'd always see her in her full drag. So actually, I was like, who is this man? Why is he familiar to me?
That's who that is.
When it's an Irish actor, you're always like, were they in Fair City?
You always assume they're in Fair City.
What do I know them from? Oh, he was great. And he kind of had a different storyline from the three other men who'd all come out quite young. And he was like older, had come out like after having, you know, been married and had kids and had to grapple with all of that. And he said, like, you know, I can't go out for a date because I'm so paranoid that I'll see somebody I know from my old life. Like, that was barely touched on, but it was a really interesting plot for like a side character to have.
Because you only needed to barely touch on it for anybody who can relate or who's been there will have it. And I think maybe that's what I liked a lot. It didn't draw out any of the plots because it only needed to raise them to awareness, and we know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
We know exactly, we can picture the backstory. And I think, that's probably one thing I did like it. Do you know when some films treat you as stupid and they just keep spelling it out for you and you're like, no, I've got this. So that's how I kind of felt about that.
And I think we're coming up, I think it's this year that it's the 10-year anniversary of the Marriage Equality Act in Ireland, and we were the first country in the world to democratically like vote for gay marriage, as opposed to other countries where it was brought in but we voted for it. And there's kind of a big celebration around that 10-year mark in Ireland this year, as many other rights such as like transgender rights are eroded. So it's brilliant to see a film where like the gay community and the gay men in this film are centred. They've lovely stories, they've brilliant relationships with their moms, it's very funny. The Pride they're going off to, I can't remember where it was,
Ibiza.
That stuff was all very funny as well. I had a really good time with it, and I love to see an Irish movie on the big screen.
Yes, and I want to shout out one of the things for me as an older mother, or a mother, a mother of an adult. I was so happy to see these amazing older women. They were all those actresses are hitting towards 80, to be just continuing to be working and to be brilliant right up to the age of 80 was extraordinary. They were so good.
And many of our listeners will know my mom is an actor. And Mom, for once, you're too young for the female roles in the film.
I'm getting there.
You have your eye on the sequel.
In terms of that, because I only started doing a bit of acting literally at 60. So I was thinking, oh my God, I could be working for the next 20 years and it'll just keep getting better and better.
I hope so. If you're getting scripts like this, where they don't just have one older woman, they've loads of them.
And they are so funny. There is a scene when they go to the psychic and it's just so brilliant. And she is played by one of the Cusack sisters, Niamh Cusack. She's the sister of the Cusack that's married to the guy who my brain. Jeremy Irons.
So this is brilliant. So for anyone who's not Irish, this is how Irish moms talk. They link you back to people in the way.
Her sister is married to Jeremy Irons now. But the whole family of Cusacks, what's interesting was she was in school with me. She was a year below me in school. It was a Gael school, so they're big in the Irish language community. But their father, Cyril Cusack, was called like the father of Irish theatre. He worked in the Abbey Theatre for years, so it's a real acting family.
Brilliant.
And she had a very funny, entertaining role.
She was very good, and had this incredible house. And we're like, are you paying for that with your pseudo
your palm
psychic
reading over there?
Well, thank you, Mom, for that Irish acting gossip.
There you go.
Stuff.
Bit of goss.
Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Mom, for coming on again. Our listeners will be thrilled to hear you.
Yes, thank you, and lovely to be on, but definitely watch this, not just because it's Irish, but it's so touching. I cried so much.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you everyone for listening. Let us know what you think about this film. If you've caught it, come over to us. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky and Letterboxd, and of course come over to patreon.com/theCinemile, where we're doing a ton of TV reviews at the moment, including Andor. We're going to be doing And Just Like That. We're talking about You Season 5. We're talking about The Last of Us. A ton of stuff. So see you over there.
Oh, okay, slán Carja.
I like being on my own.
Weird.
It's not weird, Mom.
What was his father like?
Weird.
Mom!